Hey, what's up YouTube? My name's Ethan,
And I'm Marcel.
and this is our channel To See or Not to See. Basically, each week we go and see a movie in theaters, and then we leave a review of it right here on YouTube. You want to tell us a little about ourselves?
So Ethan and I are both BYU film students currently, and we kind of have two different fields that we're studying. So he's a little bit more on the technical side, whereas I'm more on the art side. So one of the things that we like to do after we go and see a movie together is sort of talk about the things that we noticed it from the very different perspectives that we generally tend to have. That often comes, I don't know, we both learn a lot of things from each other, and sometimes we just disagree with each other on certain things, and I don't know. It's been a good learning experience, though. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's just a chill environment where we just talk back and forth. We don't really...
I don't know if it's always chill. Sometimes there's yelling.
Sometimes there's yelling, but I'm saying like in this environment, it's basically, we're not like going in depth into the film, like in a technical aspect. We're kind of just talking about general...
Yeah, it's like brisk.
Yeah.
Just go over it. For these videos, anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So this review is for Us, Jordan Peele's second feature film. The first one obviously was last year with Get Out, and this year with Us. I'll let you go first, because I really want to know what she hasn't told me what she thought about it, because she refused to until this video, so we'll see. What do you think? She hates horror movies, but I know she loves this one.
I will say this. In many ways, it was well made. However, I'm still checking my closet every night before I go to bed to make sure there's not somebody in there with a red jumpsuit on and scissors in their hands. I am very prone to nightmares, and this has not helped.
That means it succeeded, right?
But I don't want that. I
dream is
don't
this.
like it. I don't like that. I don't like being scared. It's not fun.
Oh, man.
So, I don't know. Like, overall, it looked cool. Like, the cinematography was pretty good. The costuming, wasn't, super duper
It's pretty simple.
hard.
Yeah.
Except for, the throwback to when Lupita Nyong'o's character was a child, and it had a little bit more of the old-timey feel to it. And that was fun. Yeah. So that was cool, and that was well done, I feel like. I think the coloration was kind of, the color and the gradient of the film itself was different for that as well. So I liked that, I appreciated that, I thought it was cool. Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, in terms of art, obviously I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to that field, but I liked how it wasn't overwhelming. Sometimes art tries to be, the center of attention, and I like how it was simple, yeah, the costume and a lot of the art was pretty simple and basic, but I think that helped people focus on the story more, and it added to it rather than, was the main focus. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't always mind when art takes the foreground,
Of
because
course,
I
but
think it's fun.
this movie wasn't about the art.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't like a period
It wasn't
piece.
supposed to be that.
Yeah.
So that's fine. In this film's case, it's fine. There were a couple of things that I was confused about when it came to art. So props and costumes, for instance. Where did they all get matching red jumpsuits? There's hundreds of thousands of them.
So it kind of explained it. From what I understand is these are underground facilities that were vacant,
Yeah.
right? And so it was kind of like a lab. They talked about near the end, spoiler alert, by the way, I forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah,
But near the end, they kind of talked about how they were doing experiments with the clones, and then they kind of just gave up on the project, and they abandoned them and left them there. So I'm guessing maybe it was the workers' outfits,
The doctors.
the doctors, or the janitors, or maintenance, or any kind of workers that were working down in those shafts or tunnels. I think they just collected all those because those are the only pieces of clothing.
Hundreds of thousands of them, though.
You got miles and miles of tunnels. They probably had lots of people working down there. You know. I don't know. That's the only explanation
I think
have.
it was a little far-fetched. Also, the
thought it
scissors
was
and the gloves, like, where did those come from? And why?
Mhm.
I don't really get it. I tried to come up with reasons, like, I considered that, too, for the jumpsuits, but again, I still feel like that's, like, reaching, trying, like, oh, this could be it. But
I don't think that was a problem for most people. Like, I just don't think it was like, I don't think it needed an explanation. Personally, I think it was just kind of like a cool aesthetic, and an interesting murder weapon
Ugh.
with the scissors.
Yeah, but, like, where did they get them?
There was classrooms. All those in the tunnels. There's tons of classrooms. They probably had scissors and pencils and pens and
But why were they such
art
specific,
materials.
like shearing scissors?
Because
You
they
know
got
what,
the
not only
same
that,
for all of
They were more like hair cutting scissors because they were so long and so thin and like really
I think
sharp.
you're thinking about this way too much.
This is my job.
Oh my
I'm supposed to think about this too much to make sure that it makes sense.
All
But
right.
these people
Other than-
obviously didn't.
Other than the props and the costumes, anything else you liked or
I
disliked
talked about the cinematography. There were some. I forgot what the term is. Holes in the story, plot holes. There were some plot holes for sure. Kind of things that weren't fleshed out quite as well as I wished that they had been. Also, I don't like being scared. I don't like it.
In terms of the plot holes, I think it's very interesting. So I saw it twice. The second time I actually liked it more because I wasn't so focused on what was happening rather than
Yeah,
like
because the whole time
understanding.
you were focused on laughing at me.
No, because I was
She's the
trying.
worst.
I was able to like understand a bit more, like, because I already know what's gonna happen, so I was able to have the end in mind as I watched it the second time. And a lot of more things made sense, and it was actually more enjoyable to watch it the second time, I think. So if you've already seen it, maybe go see it again because there's lots of things that make more sense, at least for me, that did. I would say the same to you, but you probably won't. So.
But I could tell, like, pretty early on what the twist ending was going to be. Like, I had a feeling. Like, I wasn't positive,
Mhm.
but I was pretty sure that it was going to end how it did.
Yeah.
So, there were little telltale signs.
I don't think it was super obvious though.
No, it wasn't super obvious, but I just,
Like the whole time,
know,
there's
those
there's an
things.
idea of like maybe they switch, but then like there's lots of moments where she's like, oh, she's really touching with her kids. The other person probably wouldn't, and like there's just little things where like it kind of distracts you, But then all of a sudden she like approaches the other people, and you're like, why is she doing that? So there's both ways. I was kind of like, did they switch? Did they switch?
Yeah, no, they do a good job of kind of throwing you off the scent, but again, I did still have the feeling.
And I didn't know there was gonna be like a whole like army of them. I thought it was just the four of them. I
didn't know it was gonna be all of them.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool twist. I thought the whole upper class, lower class kind of playing with the social class, the vibe was really cool metaphor.
But also kind of very in your face with the physical boundary of upper and middle.
Yeah, which is, I think was awesome. I
No,
think
it was cool. It was really cool.
He wasn't beating around the bush. He was saying, the others of the vibe.
Yeah.
So for me, I love Jordan Peele. I love To Get Out, and I loved Us. Like, absolutely loved it. I think these two movies are phenomenal movies, and I think he's going to be one of the better directors of our generation. So I'm super excited to see what he does next. I think this was better than Get Out in a lot of ways. I think cinematically and visually, this had a lot cooler shots, a lot more risks that he took. It was a lot darker, I think, and it had a lot of just a lot of cooler elements, like that one shot on the beach, the overhead. I think, do you remember that one when they're walking on the beach and the camera's overhead?
Of like all the people on the beach.
No, so it's just the four of them, and they're walking in a line, and then there's an overhead shot of them walking.
What do they? What? At what point is this in?
When they decide to go to the beach, pretty early on in the film. I don't know. It was a really cool shot. There's just really cool shots like that. There's one where she's in like an escalator. She's coming down. There's lots of cool lines and lights.
Yeah.
And,
That was cool.
you know, and then there's another shot where there's a close up of the evil twin's eye, and she's in the background. But that was a really cool shot. Just, I think on this one, on Get Out, he kind of focused more on the story and didn't really take a lot of risks. I mean, the story was pretty risky. It was a very complicated, interesting story. But I feel like with this one, he was able to be like, okay, I got my first one out. Now I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have cinematically. I'm gonna do some cool stuff, right?
Fair.
Which showed, and I thought was really cool. I love it when directors take risks, whether or not it's gonna turn out good or bad. Obviously, I think everything he did turned out fantastic in this film. This is the best film of the year so far. So far, this on April, coming in first week of April, this is the best film that has come out this year, and it will be nominated for an Oscar. And it's really good. If you haven't seen it, go see it, because I don't even know what else to say. Like it's got like a 94% of Rotten Tomatoes. So did this other film, Get Out, which also got nominated for Best Picture last year. So I would say this is a must-see, absolutely must-see, best film of the year so far. What do you think?
Plot holes.
Okay, see the second time. It makes a lot more
Okay,
sense.
but
Like
what about
Let me try to
when?
explain to you.
Okay, but what about when she switches their places? You know, first of all, how does a little girl have the strength to choke out somebody? Like I know they're the same size, but still.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't. That
I think-
kind of threw. That was. I
the
didn't
bottom
really
the
believe
bottom people were a lot more aggressive, right? They didn't grow up with this kind of notion of like feelings and pain and like hurt and like what I'm trying to say. They didn't grow up with the idea of like we shouldn't hurt people, right? So like they're kind of aggressive, and I think her instinct, the original girl, wasn't to attack her, so she kind of got caught off guard and panicked. And I think a lot of it was like shock, panic, and the choking that kind of she passed out, you know. And then obviously she took her down, you know.
But after that, when the little girl gets unchained from the handcuffs at some point or another, I don't know how she would do that. Maybe with the magic scissors, she picked the lock. That I don't know.
Someone unchained her.
Somehow. Why wouldn't she try to find her way back out?
Did you see how complicated it was to get down there?
Yeah,
There's
but
like
still.
stairs and random doors and like an escalator. Like there's like it's pretty hard to get out unless you know where you're going.
I think she could have figured it out.
I think she might have tried. Maybe she tried, couldn't get out, and then she decided, hey, I'm going to build an army down here.
But she didn't do that until she was a teenager.
Because she didn't realize she had the power to do that. Remember when the person above started dancing and started being creative? She started realizing that she has the power to do more than just walk around here and do nothing.
Well, she says something about them all having the power to do that. I still just don't understand why she wouldn't have.
We don't know. We don't know if she tried.
Exactly.
We don't know, and I don't think that's a plot hole. That's not a plot hole. It's not. it's a thing they couldn't fit in the 2.5-hour movie. You know, you got to realize that he has a time frame. You can't make a 5-hour movie.
Yeah, I know, but you can make that excuse for any movie.
But that doesn't make it a plot hole, though.
In this case, it does.
I
think you're just defending it just because you like it.
That might be true, but I still don't think that's a plot hole. I don't know. So just flat out, don't see or must see.
I think it's worth seeing. I think if you're a fan of horror, then it's a must see. If you're, in my case, I would say it was worth seeing.
Just cinematically alone, I think I had so many like elements that you can learn from to use, especially since this is only his second feature and he has this much depth in his filmmaking. Like the story was very well written. I thought it was very interesting and weird and twisted and dark, and which so was Get Out. So it's
Very
like I love
symbolic in a
how
lot of ways too.
I love how like his mind works and how he's able to think through. Because imagine how hard it would be to direct this film when you have 4 people playing 2 separate parts, right?
Yeah.
And you have to film a lot of things multiple times, back and forth to get the good side and the bad side, right? And then your actors have to switch up a dime, right, to go from good and evil.
Well, it's not like they're doing that, like, I don't know. I think they would probably do it in such a way that they would shoot multiple scenes as the same character throughout a space of time,
Well, maybe.
and then switch over to multiple scenes. Because
Still,
that's just a lot
It's still impressive though
to
be
ask
able.
of your actors and your crew.
Yeah, but that's still impressive though in the same film to have an actor portray totally 2 different sides.
Oh yeah, no.
Especially 2 kid actors. I think the kid actors did
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
they were so good.
And I think a lot of it is because they're very skilled actors and actresses, but I think a lot of it has to do with how talented Jordan Peele is at directing, and how he's able to share his vision with not only like the crew but his cast, and he's able to really let them understand what he wants and like get the film how he wants it, which is crazy. I don't know. There's lots of things, and the soundtrack. I can't believe I'm talking about the soundtrack because the soundtrack was insane.
The soundtrack was really good.
The soundtrack was. I listened to it in my car. I'm the weird guy that listens to the horror soundtrack in my car as I'm driving to work in the morning at 7 a.m., Not even like the one with the words, it's just like the random orchestra music, So, but it was so good.
It was very off-putting. It was very well done.
Very off-putting. It fit the theme of the movie so well. I loved this movie. I can't wait to own it. I can't wait to buy it. I can't wait to watch it again. I can't wait till it gets nominated for Best Picture and maybe win. Maybe the first horror movie since I think what was it, like The Exorcist that won. It's been a long time the horror movie has won the Oscar, so I love it. I think it's awesome. Do you have any other opinions about the film?
There were some things makeup related that bothered me. Bleached eyebrows don't make sense. And there were a few very unrealistic blood splatterings that I was like, you didn't hit a major artery there, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm done.
Okay. I think the writing and the cinematography and the soundtrack and everything else he did 100% made up for any kind of mistake that would be there.
I don't know if that's how it works, but
Pretty sure that's how it
you know.
works. Jordan Peele could write anything. It's just going to be a masterpiece. Until he doesn't,
He's great.
He's
He
2
does-
for 2.
He does a
Until
good
he
job.
doesn't write a fantastic movie, you can't say otherwise. Fortunately, at this point,
Everybody has their burnout moment,
we'll see. Maybe not Jordan Peele.
Everybody does. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen anytime soon, or that I think he's a bad writer or a bad director. I think that what he's done is great. But he's still human, and there were still
course.
flaws in
Of
this
course.
movie.
But
And they are flaws, no matter what.
well, every movie has flaws.
Exactly.
Every movie has flaws.
Yeah, but what would be the point of this if we were just like, everything was perfect? Like, that's not how it works. You point out the good and the bad. And this isn't like the
Yeah.
scale thing of like, well, there was more good than there was bad, so like,
Which
the
there
bad
was.
shouldn't be talked about at all and not cared about.
No, we
Like,
mentioned the bad, but I just think it was very minimal. Like I think he did a really good job at like finding, about executing this film to as close to as perfection as you can. When it
he
comes to
did a
film.
good job.
Like, what is this the best movie cinematically? Take away the horror aspect that you don't like horror, but like just look at it as like a cinematic film. Is this the best one you've seen this year? If not, I need you to name one. Because I can't think of one that's better.
What was the first movie that I saw again?
The first movie we saw, so Alita was the second.
Yeah, wait a second.
The first movie we saw was Spider-Man, Spider-Verse.
That one was very cinematography.
But that counts for last year, unfortunately, because it was on last year. It was on this year's Oscars, so it doesn't count for this year. But I still think Us is better than Spider-Verse.
You think Us was better than Spider-Verse?
100%. Not even a question.
Okay, I definitely disagree with that.
First of all,
and that's not just because
first
I
of
don't
all-
like horror.
First of all, Spider-Verse didn't get nominated for Best Picture.
How do you know
It got
for
nominated
sure
for
that
Best
this
Animated
will?
Feature. Because it's Jordan Peele, okay? Get Out was good. This was amazing. Like, this was better than Get Out, so I has to. Unless somehow there's like 6, 7, or 8 other movies that come out at the end of this year that are better than this, which is very unlikely, it has to be nominated. But Spider-Verse, it's hard for animated films to be in the Best Picture category.
Yeah.
Because it just is. It hasn't happened for a while, and so it's hard to. It's also hard to compare animated versus non-animated. So
Yeah.
I don't like to compare those two. But if I had to, I would say Us is better.
Okay.
But I'd still say Spider-Verse is the best animated film of all time. So
You know, it is really good cinematography wise, I'll give you that.
the story
But there are
is
also a lot of other
great.
movies that came out in the past few months that I haven't seen yet, so.
And I'm not
Other
saying, yeah, just of the ones you've seen. Yeah. Alright.
There's still plot holes.
Okay, there might be plot holes, but I think it was very well executed, and
I know. You worship
I
George
can't wait
Lucas.
to I
It's
can't wait
fine.
to see it. Well, I love horror.
I know.
You know, I
I
love
understand.
horror when it's
I
done
don't
well,
get it.
because it's the easiest genre to make, but it's the hardest to execute, in my opinion. I think because you can make a horror budget you can make a horror film for such a low budget, but it's so hard to execute horror in a way that's not cheesy or over the top or like very hard to watch. And I think Us was kind of like that perfect balance of of horror, mystery, thriller, suspense, action, comedy. You laugh. There's so many times where you're
That's
laughing.
true.
You know?
I hated that though. It made me feel even more uncomfortable. It was
Exactly.
like, I can't laugh right now. Everything's so wrong.
Exactly,
Like,
that's why-
Stop.
When you can make people laugh in a horror movie and not laugh because of the horror movie, that's amazing. That's good stuff right there. And I think Jordan Peele, coming from the Key and Peele background, is able to include his humor into that, but not focus on it, which is really great. It's kind of like this subtle underlying tone. It never seems forced, at least in my opinion. I don't think it seems forced. Yeah, I don't know. I loved how the film progressed and how it didn't take a while for things to happen. It was kind of just the first night, everything just went down. You know, there's a lot of horror movies where it's like, first night, some things happen. Then next morning, and then the next night, more things happen. And the next one, it takes 4 or 5 days until something actually happens, and then the movie starts going. You know, this one was kind of just like,
This one was like in the space of 36 hours.
yeah, we're gonna give you some backstory, and then they go to the cabin, go to the beach that night, everything goes down. And then that next morning is the end. You know, so I thought that was really cool. Alright, anything else you want to add?
Nah.
Alright, go see Us. I think it's an absolutely must see. She thinks it's a C, but it's a must see, in my
If you
opinion.
like horror.
Especially if you like horror. What do you guys think about Us? Leave your comments about it in the comments below, and we'll read those and get back to you. This is our last film that we'll be doing review-wise. So I hope you liked our 6 films that we did. And if you haven't seen the other ones, go back on our channel. They're all right there. And you are able to watch those, comment about those films. Again, we'll read those, try to get back to you as well. But I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed the reviews. And thanks for watching.